Dear friends, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Keep close to you people who push you. Be better." In modern life, we are not only influenced by the people we interact with on a daily basis, but also by the way we select and maintain our relationships. You may have heard that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But have you ever wondered what happens if you are not careful in choosing these people? Stoic philosophy is more than just a set of principles on how to live a virtuous and resilient life. It is also a mirror for us to hold up to our relationships. In this video, we will delve into the 7 types of people who can derail your Stoic progress and how to manage these relationships wisely. These people are not just people you encounter in your daily life. They can be friends, colleagues, even loved ones who may intentionally or unintentionally hinder your personal and spiritual growth. We will not only stop at identifying these types of people, but also learn how the Stoic philosophers advised us to deal with them. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we will learn how to recognize, protect, and even enhance our self-worth through maintaining meaningful and positive relationships. If you are looking for ways to build a better life, don't miss this video. Before we begin, if you find this content useful, please hit the like button to help me continue to spread the profound lessons of Stoic philosophy. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Let's get started. Type number 1, the complainer. We all have that friend, family member, or coworker who seems to find fault with everything, whether it's the weather, their job, or even the food at a popular restaurant. They never miss an opportunity to express their dissatisfaction. Now you might be wondering, why does this bother me? I can just ignore them. Well, that's easier said than done. Constant exposure to such negativity will drain your mental health. Just like a leaky faucet that slowly drains your emotional energy, Stoicism teaches us to focus on possible solutions. For example, instead of focusing on problems, imagine you're collaborating on a project with a complainer. Every meeting turns into an exhausting complaining session without any constructive dialogue. As a result, team morale drops, you become distracted, you fail to find viable solutions, and you may find yourself becoming increasingly frustrated with the project and even life in general. So how does Stoicism help us deal with a complainer? There are a few strategies you can employ. First, limit your contact with this person. Whenever possible, if not, perhaps because they are a family member or a coworker, your second option is to keep your mental distance during their criticism. Treat their complaints like a passing storm, noisy and unsettling, but ultimately temporary and powerless against the immovable mountain that is your inner peace. Your third option is to steer the conversation toward a solution or change the subject to something more constructive. Quote Marcus Aurelius, "You have power over your mind. Not external events realize this, and you will find power." This timeless Stoic wisdom encourages us to diligently guard our peace of mind, ensuring that negativity from complainers does not derail us from the Stoic path of resilience and virtue. Of those who are the second type of person, called the drama magnet. Imagine you are navigating your life as if it were a ship sailing through calm waters, but then you encounter a whirlpool, known as the drama magnet. This individual seems to have a never-ending series of crises, conflicts or arguments, and like a whirlpool, they have the destabilizing ability to suck you into their chaotic vortex. Initially, you may find yourself drawn to the energy of the drama magnet, mistaking it for passion or excitement. However, you will soon realize that being in their sphere is like steering a ship through a storm, exhausting and dangerous. Now, what makes dealing with a drama magnet difficult is that their crises can often resemble your own. Their turmoil is contagious. You may even find yourself drawn into conflicts that you were not originally involved in. Let's take a real-life example. You have a friend who is constantly at odds with others in your social circle. Today, they don't talk to Sarah tomorrow, but your friend Tom comes to ask for advice. But you find that this cycle never ends, and suddenly you find yourself disagreeing with Sarah or Tom because you tried to intervene in the situation. You can use a strategy called reflective listening instead of giving advice or taking sides, mirroring their words back to them. For example, If they say, "I can't believe Sarah said that about me," you can respond by making yourself feel betrayed by Sarah's words. This technique allows you to provide emotional support without getting caught up in the drama. Another approach, and one that may seem counterintuitive, is to be selectively unavailable. Stoicism reminds us to value our time, and sometimes that means not being available when others are having crises, especially if they are recurring without a solution. Turning off your phone during certain hours, creating blocks of time where you can focus solely on your work or personal development, and letting people know that during these times, you are not allowed to be disturbed. In the words of Seneca, true happiness is enjoying the present without worrying about the future. This can be especially helpful when dealing with drama magnets instead of worrying about what crisis will come next. Next, focus on the present moment, where you are in control. Enjoy your life and don't let it be interrupted by other people's dramas. Try to steer your ship calmly away from the whirlwinds that threaten the journey towards personal growth and peace of these types of people. Third, the naysayer's painting. This is you, an artist painting a picture, each brushstroke adding depth of color and vitality to your vision. Enter the naysayer. They walk into your studio, glance at your work, and immediately start criticizing it. Are you sure about that? Colors don't look realistic. Most artists never live up to their word. Like gray paint strokes that begin to blur your vibrant canvas. This is not constructive criticism, a norm that can be valuable. Instead, it is a constant stream of doubt and negativity. For example, let's say you are excited to pursue a new career path. You've done your research, talked to experts in the field, and maybe even taken a few introductory courses. When you share your enthusiasm with the naysayers, they quickly list all the reasons why it won't work. The market is too competitive. Are you skilled enough? What if you fail early enough? Their doubts start to mirror yours, and the confident vision you had starts to waver. Now, how do you deal with naysayers, especially when they may be someone close to you? An unconventional but effective approach is to ask them for advice, rather than just sharing your plans or aspirations. When people are given an advisory role, they are less likely to attack your ideas outright and can give more constructive feedback. Another approach involves flipping the script through a technique called positive confrontation. Instead of absorbing their negativity, challenge them to come up with solutions. If they say you will never be able to change careers at this stage, counter with an interesting perspective. How do you think someone could successfully change careers? This not only deflects the negativity, but also encourages a more constructive form of conversation. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listening does not mean absorbing people's negativity. It means distinguishing valuable input from noise when naysayers start to blur your picture with their shades of doubt. Take a step back, listen, reflect, and move on. Coloring your own life with colors that speak to you. Don't let anyone turn your vivid masterpiece into some kind of drab, gray landscape of fourth person. The victim imagines life as a game of chess. Each player has the same pieces and the same goal of checking the opponent's king. You think strategically, make some sacrifices, and take some risks. However, the victim blames the board, pieces, or even their opponent for every bad move they make in their eyes. They are always in checkmate, not because of their own choices, but because of some external force working against them. Their story is an endless tale of misery, with themselves seen as the helpless protagonist. I can't get ahead at work because my boss doesn't like me, or I can't get healthy because I have bad genes. Now, it's important to note that some people face real hardships and systemic problems. However, the victims we are discussing use their plight as a permanent excuse. If you refuse to take any responsibility for their actions or lack of responsibility, you may find yourself drawn into their storyline, perhaps as a side character who constantly needs rescuing. Let's say you've spent countless hours listening to a friend blame their constant failed relationships entirely on their ex. Not only is this a waste of your time, but it may also inadvertently encourage you to adopt a similar victim mindset in your own life. So what is your move when dealing with a victim? You may want to be their savior, offering endless advice and emotional support. But the Stoics would caution against this. They advise you to draw firm boundaries to protect your own mental state. You can use a technique called compassionate detachment. Be expressive, empathetic, and kind, but don't try to rescue them from situations they need to solve themselves. Listen, but refrain from becoming their constant problem. Marcus Aurelius, the problem solver, once said that the best revenge is to not be like him, the one who caused the injustice. If you find yourself drawn into the victim's story, resist the urge to become one of them. Take control of your own board. Take action, and remember that in the chess game of life, being repeatedly checkmated is often a choice, not fate. Keep moving your pieces, make strategic sacrifices when necessary, and play not for revenge or pity, for growth and wisdom. Fifth type. Toxic positivists, you know the ones. They're all sunshine, rainbows, and emojis. They're the ones who tell you to just be happy when you're going through a rough patch. They sweep your emotions and experiences under a sparkling wave of optimism. Imagine your life as a garden. There are flowers, but also weeds and pests. A toxic positivist, however, insists on ignoring everything that isn't. A blooming rose with aphids on its leaves focuses only on the flowers. They will say, "Don't let negativity infiltrate your garden." While it may sound optimistic, their approach can leave you feeling invalidated and out of touch with reality. Say you're going through a difficult breakup, you're sad, confused, and looking for emotional balance. The toxic positivist advises, "There are plenty of fish in the sea, just smile and be happy." This type of over-positivity ignores the complexity of human emotions and the realities of life's challenges. How can you cultivate your garden without toxic positivists trampling it by sprinkling their good vibes indiscriminately? The only strategy is to engage them in a discussion that includes both light and dark. If they say, "Look on the bright side, at least you have your health," you might say, "Yes, I am grateful for my health, but I'm also okay with feeling sad about this particular issue." Both can coexist. You might also use what psychologists call emotional granularity, the ability to feel and differentiate between a range of emotions, both positive and negative. When toxic positivists push you to just be happy, taking a moment to acknowledge and label your subtle emotions, "I am feeling a little melancholy today due to X," and that's okay, can be a liberating affirmation to reference Stoic thought. Seneca once said, "True happiness is understanding our duty to God and man to enjoy the present without being overly dependent on the future." Balance. Understanding duty, which is not always pleasant, and enjoying the present with a Stoic approach, not focusing only on the positive or negative. It is accepting the complexity of life with equanimity, so the next time the toxic realists sprinkle shredded paper on your carefully tended garden, take a step back. Remember that a garden needs both sun and rain to grow. Accept the full spectrum of your emotions and continue to nourish your garden with richness and complexity. It is worthy of the sixth type, a manipulator who envisions your life as a movie script. You are the main character, and you have an idea of how your story will unfold, where the twists are, who your allies and mentors are, and what your final act will look like. The manipulator, the shadow producer, who subtly rewrites your script without you even realizing it until one day you find your plot gone awry. Manipulators are skilled at the art of emotional or psychological manipulation. They may use flattery, guilt, trips, or even deception to steer you in a direction that benefits them. You may have a friend who tries to get you to pay for dinner by saying something like, "You know, I've had a rough month and you're so successful. It won't mean much to you, but it will make my day better over time." You feel like your generosity has been taken advantage of, but calling them out makes you uncomfortable because they frame it as helping a friend in need. Dealing with a manipulator can be a difficult task. One way to counter their tactics is what some experts call blinding. This technique involves agreeing with any truth in the manipulator's statements, but refusing to be emotionally influenced by their coercion. If they say, "You're very successful, you should pay for dinner," you can respond that "You're right, that I did well, but let's split the bill as we usually do." Another approach is to set clear boundaries and enforce them. If the manipulator wants you to lend them money or commit to a task, You'll be uncomfortable learning to say no assertively, keeping your tone calm and your words clear. I can't lend you money, but I'm here to offer emotional support. Setting boundaries while maintaining friendship takes inspiration from Stoic thought. Epictetus warned us, we can't choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Manipulators thrive on your predictable reactions. They manipulate your kindness, your guilt, or your desire for approval. By choosing to react differently, you control your script. So if you find a manipulator lurking in your life, remember that you are the writer, your plot, yours. And while the cast may include many different characters, the protagonist's journey, yours, must always be guided by your own values and decisions. Take back your script, and don't let anyone manipulate your life's narrator. The seventh type, vampire. Imagine your daily routine as a carefully crafted symphony. Each instrument represents a task or commitment, and when played together, they create a harmonious balance. But then the time vampire steps in to shout out of tune, drowning out your melody and turning your beautiful work into dissonant noise. Time vampires aren't necessarily malicious. In fact, they can seem quite benign. It could be a coworker who constantly interrupts you with trivial questions, turning your productive day into a series of disconnected moments. Or it could be a friend who invites you to countless social events that you're not interested in. You feel obligated to attend and drain your time and energy. These interactions may seem insignificant in the moment. The cumulative effect can be deeply disruptive. How do you protect your symphony from being ruined by a time vampire? One effective strategy is the Pomodoro technique, a time management method that involves breaking your work into blocks of time, traditionally 25 minutes, separated by short breaks. During these blocks, you make it clear that you don't want to be interrupted. This sets a boundary that protects your most productive time. To avoid being gnawed at, if you find yourself dealing with a social time vampire, remember that saying no is not only okay, it is necessary for your health. Instead of making elaborate excuses, simply say, I appreciate the invitation, but I can't say enough. Declining the invitation is not a rejection of the person. It is an affirmation of your own needs and priorities, in the words of Seneca's life. If lived well, it is long enough. Stoicism teaches us that time is one of our most precious resources, one that needs to be allocated wisely. It is the canvas on which we paint the portrait of our lives, and we should be very selective about who and what deserves to be portrayed in your life's great work. Make sure that every note, every instrument, every melody is aligned with your greater purpose. Don't let the chaotic intrusion of the time vampires disrupt your symphony. Hold on to the baton and live with purpose. Make sure every moment is a well-played note in your harmonious masterpiece. As we come to the end of today's exploration of characters, who can derail our path to stoic resilience and wisdom? Let's not forget that self-awareness is key. It's easy to recognize these types of people in others, but the more challenging and enlightening task is to look within. Perhaps you are unknowingly playing one of these roles in someone else's life. Remember, Stoicism is not just about navigating the world, it's about understanding and improving yourself. If today's discussion has sparked a realization, an epiphany, or even just a little introspection, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Write your thoughts, share your experiences, and let's engage in a dialogue that enriches us all. So until next time, may your choices be in line with your virtues. May your actions reflect your wisdom, and may your life be a masterpiece you were born to create. Thank you for watching the video. See you next video.